Hey everyone, this is Janice Wright from the Garrison Public Affairs Office, and this week we have a very special episode of the Great Big Podcast. So we all know here at the Great Place, we do great things and we have equally great employees. And right now we're going to talk to two gentlemen that will be competing in the International Powerlifting Federation competition all the way in Lithuania. So we get to hear all about their stories from the Great Place to overseas, all that and more on this week's episode of the Great Big Podcast. All right. Oh my gosh. I'm so honored to be sitting with you guys. Would you introduce yourselves to our listeners?
Hello guys, my name is Chelan Carr. I'm a 83 kilogram powerlifter, which is 183 pounds in American units. I am from the United States Virgin Islands. I was born there, so I compete in the United States Virgin Islands Federation, and I'm from Houston, Texas.
Okay, love it. Born and raised in Virgin Islands.
Born in the Virgin Islands,
okay.
But I was raised in Houston, Texas.
Nice to meet you.
Hey guys, my name is Joe Jordan. I'm a 66 kilo powerlifter, also with the U.S. Virgin Islands, which in American units, that's 145 pounds. I've been competing in powerlifting for about 5 years. This will be my third international competition at the World Championships. I'm currently nominated third, so I'm hoping to have a good meet. And I work here at Fort Cavazos as an air traffic controller at Robert Gray Army Airfield, and I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so in the beginning when you guys introduced yourselves, you talked about your weight classes. So can you tell me one more time what weight class you are, Chelan?
83 kilograms.
Okay, so what is that in pounds?
183 pounds.
183 pounds.
Yes.
Okay, and that's the weight that you compete at?
Yes, I cut down to that weight class and I compete.
Oh, you said you cut down, so that means
Yes.
you lost weight and built muscle to be in that weight class.
Yes, essentially how it works is you start as whatever weight class or whatever weight you are normally, and then you want to get down to whatever weight class, and then you weigh in, and then 2 hours later, then you start lifting on stage.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. And Joe, you said that you at what weight class?
66 kilos, which is 145 pounds.
Okay, great. So you guys are kind of, you compete in two different weight classes. Is that correct? Okay. All right. Well, I am anxious, and I'm sure our listeners are anxious to know, how did you guys get started in doing this? Because both of you work for the aviation department here at the Great Place. You said you're an air traffic controller. Chelan, are you air traffic controller as well?
I'm also an air traffic controller. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's drastically different than powerlifting. So tell me about how you guys came to be in the powerlifting realm.
So for me, I've been lifting weights pretty much my entire life. I played sports as a kid. And so growing up here in Texas, that you just get thrown into lifting weights at a very early age. As I went through my military career, I just kind of continued that lifestyle. And then when I got out, I came across powerlifting. And so I started I did my first competition in 2018. And then shortly after that in 2020, I started to work here at Fort Cavazos. And a year later, Chelan actually got hired to work here as well. And he had already been on his powerlifting journey. And so when we got together, it's super funny because powerlifting is such a small and niche sport that you don't find a lot of people that compete in it. And so when we introduced ourselves to one another, we eventually got to the conclusion that we both powerlifted, and it was real cool moment there. So we shared a lot of stories and experiences with one another. And ever since then, we've just been competing with one another. We're both members of the same federation. We both did our first world championship together in 2022 in South Africa. And so, yeah, it's a very weird way how in a very small career field, I found another person that also did something very, niche that not a lot of people do.
Well, they say the Army is a small world. So it's kind of, I think it's cool that you guys work together and you found out that you have that in common and you have that to bond over and lift each other up with and encourage one another. I love that. So what about you, Chelan? Like, what do you think about discovering someone else, in your work field that shares the same passion about powerlifting as you do?
Well, at first I didn't know what to think because I was like, everyone told me there was another powerlifter that already worked there. So I was like, okay, cool. I want to see what this guy is like, see what he's about and talk to him. And then, of course, when we met and introduced each other, like, okay, we have a lot of similar takes when it comes to powerlifting. So we, bonded on that. And then when we started working out together, we had the same training philosophy and everything. So we really meshed together. And of course, our traffic, you know, like you said, being a small career field, coming from the same Army or military branch as well, the Air Force.
Oh, both of you are Air Force vets.
Yes,
okay, nice.
So we both came from the Air Force.
We love you guys. You know, we rock with you. I'm an Army vet myself.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we love being there.
Yeah.
Well, that's great to hear. So I'm sure everybody is anxious to know. I mean, what is it like for you two when you get in the gym and it's time to get it in, when it's time to work out?
It's a very like a nerve wracking, no matter what a workout you're doing, even if it's a very simple workout or a very complex or long, grueling workout, where we always have our nerves. Like we're always like, okay, we're ready to go. We have our mission we have to accomplish, and then we get in.
Even when you're just practicing and working out?
Exactly, yes.
Wow.
Every single time it's like, okay, we got to get it. We got to see what we can do. And then, of course, what the day has for us, either we're feeling good or if, like myself, you're injured, then it might not be that good. So you have to do whatever you can to get whatever you can accomplished.
Like for myself, I work out pretty regularly. It just depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling really stressed out, then I'm really anxious to get in there and get some of that out. But if it's just, you know, I'm tired or whatever, it's like, oh, I just want to get it over with. But I try to put forth 100%, you know, every time I'm down there, because I feel like if I cheat, I'm just cheating myself. And if I'm really going to do it, then I might as well do it right. You know, it's just a waste if you're going to get down there. And what my coach calls it is cake. He's like, don't cake on me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But I love that. I love the discipline of it. I love, you know, pushing my body and being able to do things and get stronger and build up my stamina. It's like a high. Do you feel that same way?
I do as well.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, for powerlifting for me is just it's just an outlet to release a lot of the stresses and the tension of life.
Absolutely.
It allows me to go to a place where I can kind of like close off from the rest of the world, become quiet and intense, and I can focus all of that built up aggression that I have into those weights. And also I'm just a very competitive person. So it gives me the outlet for that as well. You know, growing up, like I said, playing sports all the time. When you become an adult, there's very few avenues for competitive side of your nature, and powerlifting gives me that. So yeah, I absolutely love it. You know, I'll spend 4 hours in the gym a day, and
every day?
Yeah, every day.
Wow. Is that mostly lifting?
There's a lot of rest time just when you're doing powerlifting, lifting at very high intensities. The rest that you need between sets is increased from, you know, like a typical bodybuilding workout. So there is a lot of rest, but you know, on a given day, I'll do squat, bench, and deadlift, and each one of those will take an hour to an hour 15 to get through, and then you have accessories that you have to do following that, and then you have stretching and kind of your recovery type stuff. So it's very intense.
It sounds intense.
Yeah,
sounds grueling, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when you get to you know, a very high level in the sport, it takes more to just maintain that strength. You know, it's very hard to get to a high level, but when you get there, the job isn't finished. And I think that's anything in life that's worth having. You have to work hard each and every day to maintain what you have, and to try and build strength becomes harder and harder, and so you have to do more and more.
Right.
But
you have to continue to push yourself so you don't get stagnant and get used to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So Chelan told me a little bit about his upbringing. Where were you born and raised?
So I grew up in Texas.
Okay.
I went to high school in Florida. And then pretty shortly after that, I joined the Air Force and, you know, went to a couple different places. But yeah, growing up here in Texas, for the majority of my youth, sports are really, really big.
Okay.
Football, baseball, all of those things. And so, you know, I can remember being in middle school and, you know, being on the school football team, and you instantly start lifting weights. It's just a way of life. And it was one of the things that, you know, I fell in love with that, and working out and training. And then when you get to the military also pushes fitness, and
absolutely,
it's definitely important there.
Definitely
as well.
Have a plus if you already have an athletic background.
Absolutely, yeah. And so it's one of those things. People ask me, you know, what will I do after I get done powerlifting, and I say I'm never going to be done. Like I'm going to lift weights.
I'm going to continue to powerlift.
Absolutely, you know, I'm going to lift weights until I physically can't do that anymore. So.
Okay. So would you both say that your time in the military kind of bolstered the powerlifting and kind of poured more into it through the military, or was it already a passion of yours before then?
The military, for me specifically, definitely accentuated that because I learned about powerlifting through the military. For people I met in the military, they introduced me like, hey, you should try squatting, you should try benching, you should try deadlifting. And I was like, okay. And then we just happened to find something that combined all three of those. And I was like, okay, my first base, I got to compete in my first powerlifting competition.
Okay. So how many competitions have you each participated in it?
I'd say like eight to 10, somewhere in that
I'm
range.
about the same, 8 to 10 as well.
Okay. And how many titles do you have?
So,
I mean, I heard you mention that you earned a title.
Well, so we're both like national champions within our federation.
Okay.
On the international stage, the best that I've done so far is placed 4th in the world. So I haven't won any titles.
Okay.
For this world championship that's coming up in a week, I'm nominated 3rd with a really stacked class. I have high hopes, but it's going to be a battle.
Okay, so I know that there's a lot of structure and discipline that it takes. So take me through like your diet, things you do to prepare to compete.
So a typical day before a workout. Okay, so
okay,
a workout.
Is that when you start to watch what you eat, or do you just normally have a strict diet?
It's a mix of both.
Okay.
When I'm counting down for a competition, it's a little bit more strict, but during the off season, I get a little bit more lazy with it.
Okay. You said lazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does that include?
So in the morning, if I'm going to work out that day, either I'm working out or I'm not working out. If I'm going to work out, then I have something light, like either a small fruit, like a banana, something high in calories. So a banana, oatmeal, a little bit more than that. And then I go hit my workout. Okay. After my workout, I get something a little bit more, calorically dense, like a protein shake, as well as a small meal like rice, a meat, veggies. And then I repeat that for like the rest of the day. And that's usually, if I'm going to compete for a competition, I keep that pretty clean. In the off season, I might, after my workout, I might go get some fast food.
Oh, okay.
I might get something,
fast food is allowed.
It is allowed. Yeah.
There's a misconception that athletes can't eat. And I think that you have to eat, especially with the expenditure of calories. You have to eat to, replenish that, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay. What about you, Joe? What's your diet like?
Yeah, so I have a pretty difficult time making weight for my weight class. I sit about 10 pounds above the class throughout the year. And so I have a nutritionist that I've hired. And so I have a pretty structured nutrition plan throughout the year. He gives me essentially a spreadsheet. And on that spreadsheet, it'll tell me what my macros are, with carbohydrates, protein, and fat per day. And so I'll allot that depending on where my workout is. So before my workout, I will allocate more carbs to give me more energy for the workout. And then post the workout, I will have more protein for recovery. And so there's different periods throughout the year where the focus is to maintain weight or to lose weight. Okay. And so basically what I do is about a week out from the meet, I will be about 10 pounds heavy. And so during that week leading up to the meet, we do a rapid weight loss strategy, which encompasses loading sodium and loading water. And what that does is when you overload your body with water, there's a hormone in your body that makes you have to go to the bathroom. And so what you do is you load the water, the hormone production increases, and it makes you have to go to the bathroom all the time. Okay. And then the day before the meet, you basically just cut off the water. You cut off all the sodium, which makes you retain water. And then what happens is that hormone is still at play. And so it flushes all the water out of your body. And so that with also like food volume manipulation. So for sake of a round number, let's say that I consume 2,000 calories in a day. What I'll do is I'll continue to consume that 2,000 calories, but what I'll do is I'll do it with foods that are very dense in calories that don't weigh a lot. So the amount of food sitting in my stomach isn't as much. And so those two things will get me to about 2 to 3 pounds above the weight class the morning of. And then I'll just go sit in a sauna and sweat off the last 2 to 3 pounds, and then I'll make weight.
So you're losing, an amount of weight in a really, really short amount of time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then I make weight, and then the goal after that is just to rehydrate as quickly as I can by drinking water before the meet starts.
So is cardio a big part of your workout?
No.
Okay.
I don't do cardio. I think Chelan does a little bit more than I do.
I do add cardio, especially when I'm getting down for a competition, because I sit bit heavier than Joe. 83 kilograms, 183 pounds. That's a bit more. And we're around the same height. So me carrying this a lot more weight, I have to I do more cardio instead of cutting down more calories.
And how tall are you guys?
I'm 5'6".
I'm 5'5".
Okay. Because, there's a misconception about strength. The misconception is, the bigger you are, the stronger you are. But clearly, looking at you both and knowing what you've accomplished, that's not true. So tell me a little bit about, equating strength to size.
So there's a lot of things at play whenever you talk about strength. I think that a very typical way to put it is mass moves mass, and there's truth to that to an extent. So when you see a muscle is what moves the weight, and typically a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle, but not always, because you have things like muscle fibers and muscle density that will produce more or less strength. And so you may have a guy that's bigger, but his muscles aren't as dense, and you have a smaller guy, and the smaller guy may be stronger. The other thing to play here is just biomechanics, and it's your anatomy, it's your limb length. And so in some instances, if you have the correct ratio of your femur to your torso, you may be able to squat more than a person who doesn't have that. And so genetics are a very big part of this. And then obviously how much you put into it and how much you're able to train and gain strength in the gym is also at play. But I would say, typically a bigger guy is going to be stronger, but that's not always the case.
Okay. And you mentioned genetics. Is there anybody in your families that also compete in powerlifting or that also enjoy it?
I have a little brother. He just graduated high school this year, as a matter of fact. He's 18 years old. He powerlifted all the way through high school.
Nice.
And I actually coached him.
Love it.
Through all of that. And he got a scholarship to go powerlifting college.
Nice.
And so he's kind of the only other one in my family. He's on a journey of his own, and he's done a really, really good job. And he actually got third at the national championship back in April. So he's doing a great job.
That's really good. That really cool that you can mentor your brother through that. That's awesome. What about you, Chelan?
As far as my family, no, I'm the only one that pretty much weightlifts. My little brother, he just joined the Air Force as well, so he started to work out, but I'm not sure if he's going to specifically focus on powerlifting.
Oh, he's got an expert to glean from, so lucky him, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, as we stated before, you guys have excelled to the point where now you guys have qualified for the International Powerlifting Federation competition all the way in, forgive me, Druskininkai?
Yeah, Druskininkai, Lithuania.
Druskininkai. I knew I was going to flub it. I knew it. So Druskininkai, Lithuania, all the way over in Europe somewhere, right? I'm not very good at geography. Forgive me. But that must make you feel awesome. So tell me a little bit about that journey, how you got to that point.
Yeah, so like within powerlifting, there's basically stages that you have to complete to get to that international platform. And so typically where you'll start off will be a local meet. And so that can just be, for Fort Cavazos, you can find a local meet in Austin or Dallas or Waco or the surrounding area. And whenever you go to those local meets, you have to hit a high enough total in your weight class that qualifies you for nationals. And then if you do that, nationals is held once a year, you'll go to the national meet, and then you have to win nationals to be then nominated for the international championship. And there on the international stage, there's a couple different meets that you can do. So you have the World Championship, which is what I'll be going to next week. And that's the big one. However, they do have regional championships. So like there are the Asian championships, the European championships, the North American, the Pan Ams, actually. And so there are regional international meets that a person can go to if they don't quite qualify for worlds. But yeah, there's, it's pretty much like it's like track and field. If you're trying to qualify for the Olympics, you have to go to the American trials and win there. And then you get to go up to the next level.
Okay. And you both have made it to the level where you are qualified to compete.
Yes.
But only one of you is going.
Yes, unfortunately. I'm not going. I won't be joining Joe next week in Lithuania because I'm injured.
Oh, we're so sorry to hear that. But hey, you made it. Yes. You qualified. So you'll be there with him in spirit. Joe, are you gonna miss him?
Oh yeah, of course.
You'll be rooting for him back in the States.
Of course, yeah.
So in Lithuania, just for listeners and for me, because I don't know, where is that located?
So Lithuania is in like northeast Europe. It's kind of on the border of Russia.
Okay.
I think Poland's to the west. Belarus is really close. So it's just like that eastern portion of Europe. And it's pretty far north. Actually, I got my nutritionist was giving me like a preparation list, and he told me that the sun doesn't go down until like 11 p.m. because they're so far north.
Oh, wow. That reminds me of Alaska.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
I'm great at a myriad of things. Geography is just not one of them. So tell me a little bit about the process, what it's going to take for you to compete over there.
Yeah. So basically the rundown of now until the meet is just on Wednesday, we'll fly out of Austin. I think I'm flying to Montreal and then Frankfurt and then Vilnius, which is the capital of Lithuania. And I think that that's about with the layover, it's probably like a 20-hour journey. So that in and of itself is taxing. And then there's like a 7 or 8 hour time difference. So you have to adjust to the sleep schedule. Mm-hmm. And so I'll fly into Vilnius and then take a 2-hour shuttle to Druskininkai, where they have the meet venue and the meet hotel. And then I'll have one more workout that I have to complete there. And then on Sunday will be when I'm lifting. So there's kind of like a 5-day lead up to that. All the while I'm doing that rapid weight loss strategy that I was telling you about. So like I'm on the plane and I have to drink 2.5 gallons of water a day. So I'm
on the plane. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah. The flight to South Africa was like 20 hours and I was water loading during that. And so I felt really bad because I was in a row with 2 seats and I was next to the window. And the guy next to me was trying to sleep the entire time. And
you're probably going to need to sit on the aisle.
Yeah. And I felt really bad because I had to keep stepping over him to go to the bathroom. So that's also a little nerve wracking. But yeah, and then Sunday I'll just wake up. I will make weight at, I think the weigh-ins are at 5 p.m. local time there. And then I'll be lifting at 7. And, if anybody's interested, the meet is live streamed on the Olympics website and also,
nice.
Yeah. And then on the,
good to know,
on the IPF YouTube channel. And so the Powerlifting Federation that we're in there, it's really coming up pretty big. They just got like a TV deal with CBS and then also Eurosport, which is kind of like the ESPN version in Europe. So yeah, if anybody's interested in watching it and seeing what powerlifting is all about, it's a really good watch.
Okay, cool. So the event spans over several days, correct?
Right, 7 days. So there's 8 weight classes in both the men's and the women's side. And so over the course of those 7 days, all 8 weight classes compete.
Okay. So you talked about kind of nurturing that passion for powerlifting through your military career. Would you say that your powerlifting impacts the military career or your military career impacted powerlifting, or they are intermingled?
I think for me, initially, lifting weights was just a way to stay in shape, so you could pass that PT test that you have coming up. And then the one good thing about being in the Air Force and specifically in our career field with air traffic is it's very competitive. Like people want to be the best, and I'm sure that's the same here in the Army. And so that competitive passion that the military kind of instills in you to be the best that you can be kind of carried over into powerlifting, where you want to be the best there as well. So.
Absolutely. So Joe, you've explained pretty much the process over the several days of the competition. So how is it that you actually win, and what are the titles that can be earned?
So in powerlifting, it's comprised of 3 different lifts: squat, bench, and deadlift. And each competitor will get 3 attempts at each one of those disciplines.
Okay.
At the conclusion of the meet, you take your best squat, your best bench, and your best deadlift. You add those together and you get a total. The lifter that has the highest total wins the meet. Okay. In the event that you have 2 competitors that have the same total, the person that weighed less gets the tiebreaker and wins the meet.
The person that weighs less?
Right.
Because they have to lift heavier.
Yeah. So it's,
okay.
So essentially, if like, for instance, if you and I both had a 700 kilo total, but I weighed 0.2 kilos higher, essentially what they're saying is that pound for pound, you're stronger than I am because you weighed less.
Makes sense.
And that's why you get the tiebreaker. Yeah.
And these events are both for men and women.
Absolutely. Yes.
And are you the only 2 that qualified from Fort Cavazos?
That I know of.
Yeah.
Wow.
That we know of.
Okay. That makes it even more extraordinary. Okay. So what about you, Chelan? How does that balance with the military and the powerlifting go? Does one impact the other more?
For me, not really. I was able to work out, do my powerlifting stuff, and then go do my military career and be perfectly fine. However, during my military career, I was able to travel a lot. So structuring my workouts from a certain base to get into another base with a different schedule and then another base with a different schedule, because I moved 3 different times. That was really exciting and challenging for me as well.
Okay. So Joe, will you have family going with you overseas?
So yeah, my girlfriend will be going with me. We have been together for about 1.5 years, and she actually went to Worlds with me last year. So
Sweet.
last year it was in Malta, which is a beautiful place. If you haven't ever heard of it, Malta is.
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
and
Malta,
I want to go.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's kind of like in the Mediterranean, close to Italy, and they just have a lot of old castles and ruins and things. It's a really romantic place. And so yeah. She'll be going with me, and we actually are expecting a baby in 2 months.
Oh, congratulations.
So technically, actually, I have another person going, my son. So super excited for him to get here. Yeah, man, it's just a blessing to be able to compete in this sport. And
I'm very happy for you. I mean, and what better competing in a sport that you're passionate about and getting to travel the world? There's nothing better than that.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, we will definitely be rooting for you, and we will also be accompanying you in spirit. So definitely the Great Place is going to be rooting for you guys. And Chelan, we definitely hope that you're going to be ready to compete next year, right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Well, it has been a pleasure talking to you guys. Joe, we wish you safe travels, and we definitely want you to come back and tell us all about it and tell us all about how you took first place, right?
Absolutely.
We're going to put it out there in the atmosphere. We're just going to be positive and think optimistically.
Yes, ma'am.
We wish you safe travels. Knock it out of the park. Represent the Great Place.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it to leave your loved ones behind? Even large vehicles float, and overconfidence kills. For your own safety, don't drive into floodwater. It's not worth it.
Wow, that's just a testament to how many great folks we have here at the Great Place. I wish all the best for Chelan and for Joseph. I hope that Joseph does well at the competition in Lithuania. He wants to place first, and I hope he does that. And Chelan, we definitely hope that you get better and you're ready for the International Powerlifting Federation Championships next year in Germany, where you hope to join Joe, and you guys will be reunited in doing that. So we definitely want to wish you the best. We loved having them on and talking about the sport of powerlifting, something that I have never competed in. Sean, have you done that before?
Hey guys, this is Sean Davis with the Fort Cavazos Public Affairs Office. And powerlifting, no, just regular weightlifting. I was about to say it's very interesting that they, offer, I guess you'd call them like coaching sessions or advice to prospective powerlifters. That's definitely something that, people can look into. It's a nice, what would you call it? Sport competition?
It is absolutely very much a sport.
Yes.
A very popular sport. They're actually going to live stream that competition on the YouTube page.
Yes. And it tells me one thing. I mean, it's one thing for us to be the Great Place. It's another thing for us to be the U.S. Army. But to have, it says to me that we have some people that might have to step up because some Air Force guys are coming onto our post and they're beating us at competing in these powerlifting competitions while we have
they just happen to be Air Force vets. Yes, we have to give that to them, but they are a part of the family here at the Great Place.
That's true.
So there's always great people and great things happening here at the Great Place. So summer is upon us. So you know what that means?
Yes.
That means swimming and pools and all that good stuff. So what do we have going on here, Sean?
Yeah, speaking of, those of you who listened to our last podcast would know, but those of you joining in, we have the Comanche pool. It's open for the summer season through August 11th from noon to 7 p.m., Wednesday to Sunday, and noon to 5 p.m. on federal holidays. The pool is going to be at Building 52932 on Tank Destroyer Boulevard, while Patton Pool is open for adult swim on Fridays 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. through August 30th, and for everyone on weekends noon to 7 p.m. through August 1st. Those with a Department of Defense ID or Common Access card are able to use the pool, while active duty soldiers with the rank of private through sergeant have free entry with ID. Children ages 3 and under are also free. Everyone else, you got to pay $4, cash only. Don't
That's
even
not
bring the
bad.
MasterCard.
You know, that's well worth it with the sweltering heat. I'd say that's well worth it.
But those of you who are going to make this a common occurrence, you should know that season passes are available for purchase with cash or at the pool with card at the
Nice.
Apache Arts and Crafts Center or Recreation Equipment Checkout Center. If you want more information, please call 254-287-4648. Once again, that's 254-287-4648. Check it out.
Yes, absolutely. If you love, summer activities that involve water, we've got nice pools here on the installation, great, experienced lifeguards. So you can feel totally safe bringing your children and yourself to the pools and, getting some relief from the sweltering temperatures.
Yeah, and it's right here on post. I've garnered a significant appreciation for chlorinated pools as I've gotten older.
Really?
There's only so many times you can take, getting pinched by crawfish and all the things that come with, going out. It's good to connect with nature, but sometimes when you just want to go in the water, you don't want to drive so far out. It's nice to just have
Absolutely.
those pools on hand.
I have an issue going into bodies of water where I can't see to the bottom. So pools work well for me. I can see to the bottom. I can see that there's nothing lurking.
Yes.
I'm a little bit antsy with lakes and oceans and whatnot. That gets a little bit scary for me.
Yeah. Well, with that in mind, what else do we have going on, Janice?
Oh my goodness. Well, of course, you guys heard it before, but we're going to remind you again about the wonderful program that the Red Cross has, the Dental Assistant Program. So the American Red Cross here at Fort Cavazos is now accepting applications for the Dental Assistant Program, where Dental Health Command trains Red Cross volunteers in the basic skills needed to work as a dental assistant. The program starts October 21st and runs through May 9th, 2025. Individuals must submit their application no later than August 16th. Applicants are required to have a military ID card, be a U.S. citizen, be at least 18 years or older, and have a high school diploma or GED. You also must be in the Fort Cavazos or Killeen area for at least 1 year. For more information, please email fort.cavazos@redcross.org or call 254-287-0403. You can also visit the Red Cross office here on the installation. That's located at 36,000 Dornell Loop, room 1039. But please call in advance and let them know that you're going to drop by. I would suggest not waiting to sign up for that program. I feel like it's going to really, really be something great. And you want to make sure you secure your spot. So don't wait.
Yeah. If you want to open up people's teeth and get to
Open
cleaning,
up their teeth.
great skill to have. I mean, sometimes when you have to get a crown, you got to drill in and all that stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
Not my favorite thing. I really, really don't like going to the dentist. I mean, I love having a beautiful, white, bright, healthy smile, but I do not like dental visits. It's just not my favorite.
Sorry, big tangent. That brings me to this totally unrelated topic. For those of you who have been anticipating this, I got some great news. The Warrior Way Express is going to be reopening, and they're going to start that with a reopening ceremony 9 a.m. today. So, it's been going on for quite a while. I think they were renovating a couple things.
They might have been improving. Yeah.
So that ceremony is going to include vendor giveaways, events, and food tastings. So make sure you visit that spot on lunch or, before you head into work, stop by. It's located at 85001 Old Ironsides Avenue. And the hours for the Warrior Way Express is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday to Friday, and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday to Sunday. If you, for some reason, want to call, please call 254-526-4751 for more information.
Yes. So for those of you who have been anxiously awaiting the reopening,
Yes.
you wait no more.
There you
Happens today. All right, Sean. So what do you got going on for this week?
So this week, not a whole lot. I mean, I'm just gonna, I got a couple of concerts that I'm going to. When I say a couple, it's really just one. That's the day before Juneteenth. I'm gonna go see, I think it's Scott James and D4VD. It's one of those weird artist names with letters in place of, numbers in place of letters. But I've listened to Scott James since I was in high school. He's just from New York, like an indie artist. And then D4VD, some of you will recognize his music. He was recently featured in the newest season of Invincible, the Amazon, cartoon TV show. Really awesome. So I'm excited for that. What about you, Janice? What you got going on?
Well, you know me. I'm always trying to start the week off, on a positive note. Mondays are not everyone's favorite, but I have learned to embrace them. I mean, they're great. That's when our podcast comes out. So that's definitely one positive thing.
Yes.
But I definitely plan to get my workouts in this week. And I am definitely going to enjoy the day off for Juneteenth.
Yes, very good.
Yes, looking forward to that. I'm always amazed at how fast this year is going by. We are almost, more than halfway through June. And it just seems like a blink of an eye. Yesterday, it was just the new year. So this year is zooming by.
Yes, great things happening at the Great Place. And,
Always.
Thanks to everyone for listening to this week's episode.
And we will catch you back next week.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is a U.S. Army Garrison Fort Cavazos and Fort Cavazos Public Affairs production. Have a question or want to share some of your wisdom with us? Drop us an email at fortcavazos@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fort Cavazos Army. And as always, be sure to leave us a review